Falcha. Falcha. Falcha meaning welcome in Irish. Welcome to the Banshee and the Fairy realm. And this is actually a remake, so sit down by the fire and join me with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I don't know what you're having, but it's a beautiful morning here in Ireland, and this is one of my most favourite subjects, and I was really surprised by the amount of people that were interested in this subject. Absolutely delighted to hear so many people were interested in the Banshee and the Fairy realm. And my older videos, you can see that ley lines are something that I'm very interested in. And ley lines, ley meaning a clear or a clear lane. So get nice and relaxed, sit down, enjoy yourself, and thank you for all the people that let me know that my audio, there was a problem with my audio, and that previous video, it was a very disturbing case, that last video that I made, and this is a remake. As I just said there, this is a remake because my audio was so pathetic that I had to remake this. So I'm thanking Bubba personally, old Bubba out there in the trenches, letting me know that a shell was coming in, and I got out of that foxhole. But the philosophy that I always say to myself, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. I didn't spend enough time sharpening my axe, and I just wanted to chop and chop, and I shouldn't have. But you listen to your fellow brothers and sisters, so I greatly thank you from the bottom of my heart, letting me know that, because this matters, and I hope I do sound better. And you should see my studio. I'm going to have proper cameras set up so we can get different angles. I'm going to have guests on. I'm going to have not only guests but you, the subscribers, on talking, even just adding your opinion in on it. And but that's the way we've got to build this community, and I would like to build a small Irish folklore community. So that's really to start off, and I have a cup of tea here, so we'll just have a wee drink. I swear, thank you bees. Seriously, there's no way that a bee worked out over millions of years how to make honey. It's impossible. Humans can't even make honey, and we've got all the technology. And bees, without bees, we're all doomed. That's why I believe in a designer, a creator. They are designed, and to say as well, by science, a bee shouldn't be able to fly. Like, that is the most oxymoron statement. I know I'm going off topic here, but have you ever heard that? Am I just making this up, or what? To say on paper a bee can't fly. That's like communism. Them saying, because they say commies work on paper, but they don't work in theory. But we see a bee flying. We see a bee flying, but communism doesn't work. But going off topic here. I should stay on topic. It's early morning and my head is all over the place. So the Banshee, or also known as Banshee. And the Banshee of Ireland is obviously one of the most talked about figures in all of Ireland. But I'm just going to read away here. And I'm sorry for ranting on there. But doesn't these things make you think? Just when you look at a bee and it's doing its own work and it doesn't sit and consider what the other bee's doing, it just does what it does. Fascinating. And bees are phenomenal. So let me get back to topic. I don't know how long this is going to be, but let's go on. The Irish Banshee is much talked about figure in Irish folklore. I'm reading here, by the way, and may have its roots in a spirited and lively Gaelic imagination. I disagree with that imagination, because that means it's made up. But there's been thousands of people have witnessed it, and I have heard a scream. It could have been a woman, could have been, but I heard a scream one night with me and my friend that was so frightening that my blood turned to pure ice. So in Irish folklore, some humorous characters, while others are grotesque or fantastical. Prime among the second category is the weird wailing banshee creature. These are the two different entities, the good and the bad. The banshee is known for emitting cries that give notice to the family she watches over. That one among them is soon to die. The cries are sometimes more mournful, while other times they could be described as a spine-chilling screeches. And what you'll see here, as I said, Banshee or Banshee. Come back to this fairy paths. We're going to get into this, and you probably don't know this, but you might know it if you're into your Irish folklore. But the Banshee is actually a fairy, believe it or not, and that's what Ban means, female, and Shiuga means the fairies, so a female fairy. Banshee is a ghost or spirit usually associated with a particular family, usually a family of ancient Irish lineage or noble blood. The Banshee of Ireland is a derivation of a derivation? No. Derivation? How do you say that word? Am I just being stupid because it's so early?
Derivation.
Derivation. I've actually never heard of that word, you know. Derivation of Gaelic words Banshee or Banshee, and that is the she here. There, that would be it shortened. That's it short, which is interpreted by writers as the woman of the fairy race, or woman of the Fairy Mound. And this is where mounds are really important in Ireland. and fairy paths, and they say this is where the Banshees where they operate on these lanes. And if you're, there's all these different theories, but the belief in Ireland is that certain fairies, restless, compelled to wander the place. And you're going to see here, it is known that hill folk, see the link here? This is where we're going to get really interested into, well, where I get really interested, and I hope that you're interested too. I really, really do. And the mound, the woman of the Fairy Mound. So, it is known that the hill folk, these hills and mounds, in their nightly excursions and in the visits of one tribe to another, they would go in a straight line. So they would travel in straight lines, and we would tend to do that in modern society with highways, motorways, bypass ways and stuff. We would try and go in straight lines, and so gliding as if it was within a short distance of the ground. So, and if they meet any obstacles in their track, they would bend their course above them or at one side, but always with displeasure. So you never want to block the path of the fairies. And this is what they say where bridges came from. And these are just in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of like a forest. You would see a bridge, and it wouldn't be able to, it would probably hold a couple of men, but it wouldn't hold like a carriage, you know, something like that. And that's on the Isle of Man. So we're gonna go deep into this. More creative descriptions of the Banshee. And by the way, see when we're discussing anything around the fire, comments, you're absolutely free to make a comment. Obviously, if you make a really obscene comment, YouTube will withhold it, and then I'll have to approve it. But you know, if you say something really disgusting, I'm not actually too sure how YouTube work it out. I think it's curse words or something. That's automatic, I think. It's not even a decision, it's just a computer. So, more descriptions of the Lady of Death or the Woman of Peace. And there's all these different entities, and I don't know if Banshees are just angels. And some are good, some are bad. Just like the Fallen. Lucifer was an angel. So, the White Lady of Sorrow, the Nymph of the Air, and the Spirit of the Air. Banshees have been defined as being a disembodied soul, that of one who in life was strongly attached to the family. And the theory in 91 Beachmount, which I have to upload by the way, I've just been doing so much work on the side, I had to redo Science, the whole thing, and I stuck up the Eddie Bravo video, and I shouldn't have. I should have kept it and just redone the audio, but I just thought I'll just chop a tree down, chop it, and now I should redo it, but I've redone Science and I still have to do a few more things because there's very interesting things that as I said there, between, you can see a man that's lost his faith on the cross here, and these entities in chains are fallen angels. I'm absolutely a believer of that, but it's only a theory. And so the Banshee, back into it, the types of Banshees. So going back to ley lines here, I'm going to flip back and forth, and the only reason why is that there's so much. This video could be 5 hours long and it still wouldn't be enough to actually. So she is more or less the mother of the fairies, the Banshee, and I'm going to go into ley lines here because this all ties in. I'm going to show you something that's really shocking. So ley lines, Hilditch leading to the Germans. I think it's Hilditch leading to the Germans. Fairy paths to the Irish. Dragon lanes to the Chinese. Spirit lanes to the Peruvians. And song paths for the Australian Aborigines. Now, I would love to know, does anybody know Native American ones? I'm nearly sure they're called spirit lanes. No, that the Peruvians, is it wind lanes? Don't know if it's the wind talkers. I'm not too sure about that. But so you're going to see here, most cultures have traditions, and in my older videos you'll see the ley lines of Ireland, and I did not go into this much detail, and I just briefly skimmed across the surface. So most cultures have traditions and words to describe the straight, often geometric alignments that ran across ancient landscapes and connecting both natural and sacred prehistoric structures together. And this is my belief here. This is strictly mine. This is my thinking on it, that these structures were in line to be able to heal through energy. And you're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about? But there is such thing as geomagnetic energy, and the energy in Earth is actually so strong it's enough to move ice and mess with radar, shut down. We've got the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, which is caused through the magnetic. And what is that? We just call it magnetic force, but that's inside the Earth. So what the hell is it? What is that energy? What's that energy that's so strong it keeps our moon in orbit? It keeps our moon up. Or how the hell's our moon? It's got to be some sort of energy or force. Well, it is. But what I'm going to show you here is divining rods, and people call this witchery. And I believe that these entities, whatever they were that fell, there's so much cultures speak about this, that they educated us. They give us education through studying the land. And I'm going to show you this article. 10 of 12 water companies in the UK have admitted they still using the practice of water dowsing, despising the lack of scientific evidence for its effectiveness. In this story, this girl here started a science blog and she called out the water companies. She had spotted an engineer, her parents had reported seeing an engineer from Severn Trent walking around holding 2 bent tent pegs to locate a pipe near their home. So this is what happened here. What the hell is that energy? Explain that one to me. And same with bees. They have an ability to locate flowers by sound. It's just, how the hell did it work out on it? Do you know what I mean? But this is fascinating. So what happened here was this girl, this was her article. UK water companies still rely on magic. Now this is what people say to me. Do you really believe in magic? Well, Nikola Tesla proved that energy is in our atmosphere. And people say crystals don't work. Crystals are inside this microphone, inside cameras. So crystal quartz is used in radios, and I do believe that even Newgrange is covered in crystals. And I've got a line here. I'm going to show you something that's very, very interesting. I'm sorry for getting us lost there. Where were we? Yes, this article. So this girl called out and wrote this big article that she is ashamed of water witching. She is ashamed of this bloody company. And the company, actually 10 other companies came out and were like, here, shut your face. We actually use it, and not only use it, it works. And they don't understand why it works. Like, what is that energy? Like, it's a fascinating thing to think about. Like, you can't put it in a jar and paint it red or collect this energy. You can't observe that energy, but we can test through other devices. But so, sorry to burst her bubble. You know, you can just tell that she's that editor type. Sorry to burst your bubble. And then we don't have some tax. Sorry, we do have some tax that still use them in the van. However, we prefer listening sticks and other methods. Okay, and then that was the actual company that her parents had spotted out doing it. And 10 other water companies came out. Big, massive water companies. Look at this. Classic saying the, jeez, I don't know. You heard that? That was my bloody belly. Breakfast. So, this was just Diamonds like taking the Mickey out of her, and all these other water companies. Hey Sally, as far as I am aware, Dave Deviation. Am I saying that right? Divination? Divination isn't used, but there have been occasions where we have used dowsing rods, but mainly we use our listening sticks. So they've got big mechs, big huge mechs, and our water company does not, but I bet you there's a couple of engineers that must use them. So these ley lines, by the way, can be detected by these rods, and if you go to big prominent sites, even churches, you'll sometimes get these rods will spin in all mad ways, and I don't know what it's picking up, but I believe that, come on, see this here, I really don't want to jump from, I want to stay on these invisible lanes. I want to get this absolutely clear, that in ancient times we travelled in these lanes, usually the names given to represent these invisible lanes. Now they're invisible, but there's so much things that's invisible, but I still believe it. Lanes are translated to an equivalent of spirit or dream or energy paths, and I believe that in ancient times people went online. Now I'm not talking about going online by going on Facebook, going on Twitter. I'm talking about if you were in need of help, that you can get healing, and thousands of people would stand in these locations, and I'm just wondering, is there some sort of transmission going on? Because in these ancient sites like Newgrange, when you look at Newgrange, where's Meath? I need to see Meath. So that's where Newgrange is. Where the hell's Meath? It should be up here somewhere. Dracula. It's around here. There we go. That's covered in quartz. You can see the stone. That's all quartz. And what I'm going to show you here is something I discovered long ago. And going back to the ley line theory, if we zoom into here, this is one of the most important locations in all of Ireland. In all of Ireland. And it's called Skeleg Mego Island. Here. Skeleg Mego. You can see on the map here. Just off the southern coast of Ireland. And it gets its name from, the island is named after Archangel Michael. So to say that Archangel Michael actually landed here, and where this lane is going to, and you can look at the monastery. You see that? Can you remember that in Star Wars? Now, I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but I did watch the films because I heard that Ireland was in it. I was like, yep, I'm gonna watch it. So I watched it, seen this, and was like, that's Skeleg Mego. I couldn't believe they had it in the film. But I'll show you Skeleg Mego. You won't believe it. Well, if you know Skeleg Mego, you will believe it because you already know. But that is actually the mounds that you're looking at there. That's from the ocean. Now, that is from the main door there. Here. To say this was the main castle. And they even came here during the Vikings. Can you see the walkway up? It's like Lord of the Rings, one of my favourite films. And the books, by the way. The books were amazing. And I'm reading The Hobbit again. And I need to buy all the 3 books again. Because I don't know. Actually, my friend has them. But look at the path there that leads up. So, where does this lane? Sorry, where does this lane lead? I don't know if you can see down here the distance. The distance of this lane is 1,422 miles long. And where's it going to? Now, come on, see what's in between here. Okay, come back to the lane. The lane goes from Skeleg Mego, and see some of the places that this lane goes through. It's going to shock you. The lane goes to Italy, and I haven't just selected some random place. And where we're going to is here, Sanctuary, Malt Sant Angelino, and it's a sanctuary in Italy, the oldest shrine in Western Europe dedicated to the Archangel Mego. So to say that Archangel Mego landed here, and I believe that these sites hold huge energy. So where we're going to go to is outside the castle. Right outside the front gate, the entrance. You can see the entrance there. Right outside the front door. And you can see the tower here. Can you see that? That's the tower there. Archangel Mego looking over the entrance. And see this is crystal. This stone is actually called lapis lazuli, and it's blue. And I'm a big fan of Jared Cannonier, UFC fighter, and he's big into his crystals. So Archangel Mego until Archangel Mego. Now, are you ready to see here? I haven't even went into detail about the Banshee. This is the type of stuff that I'm into. Watch this. Now, we're not going to look through thousands of miles here, but I'm going to show you that this is proof that there is definitely knowledge out there, and these run through lakes, reservoirs, and that's a big thing that runs through mines, through schools, churches, hospitals. And wait to see this. Like, you're probably thinking, yeah, he's a bit, but they run through airports and the help radar or affected. Look at this. Look where this lane is running through. What's this? What's that? What's that lane going through? A nuclear power plant. Isn't that ridiculous? Now, you might be thinking, Red, that's only one thing. But it runs straight through towns. And if you do your research, you find out that a lot of these homes and estates, the first property that was built down, that was placed by using this method, believe it or not. And this is why I believe when you see these lanes, it runs straight to the center of huge places. But wait till you see this. There's more. There's so much stuff. Look at this. Straight through an airport. Look at that. And then you've got this main here, straight to the center of the quarry. And you find that a lot of these minerals were actually found by these methods in ancient times. There's so much. This lane runs through Ireland, England, France, Switzerland, and into Italy. Look how close it is to Milan. You can see these lakes. You can zoom right down and see where this lane runs through. Or Switzerland. Back into France. Across a mountain. Now, it is a phenomenon. An absolute phenomenon. Phenomenology. It's so interesting. Look at that, and we're just there. There's so much that's in this lane that it is ridiculous the amount of detail that it could probably go into. I mean, the detail going into what's in these other countries, but I just want to show you what I absolutely do know. I do know that that lane runs through prominent areas, but and I believe that these, can you see that there? Ancient landmark. Now there would be thousands of people standing here, thousands here, and I'm just wondering, was this energy somehow able to be transferred or transmitted just like a radio signal in ancient times through prayer. It sounds ridiculous. Look at that. Runs straight through the centre of that lock. And you'll find in Ireland that locks hold magic in them. There's magic. And you find these homes, as I said, before a brick is laid, they'll actually locate through divining rods if it's safe, and if you get and they actually do this to receive energy. I'm not talking about in 2020, or I'm talking about in ancient times. And they even say when people go to certain homes that they feel just to feel very positive. And these lanes, I believe these lanes are a good thing. And these are nearly similar to Earth's blood veins or something. I'm not too sure about that, but I do believe that these entities that all our cultures talk about, that came from the sky, taught us. And there's the Jersey Island that there's loads of conspiracies about. And this is where Napoleon, I believe, died. So we can zoom into here. Oh, what the towns it run through? A big town. Skimming the woods. You see, if I zoom in closer, I can see the churches. And I just don't want to make the video too long, where, you know, we're just looking at land and land and land, unless you actually want to sit and actually do that. But I don't think you would be willing to do that. Livestock breeder. See, it just runs through the middle of these woods. And these missing 411 cases, where you see people going missing in the woods, is this something to do with the Native American dream lanes? These lanes that the ancients spoke about. And all this stuff is very interesting to me, but there's people think that there's better time to be used. Don't know, getting on the internet and shopping or something, but this is my shopping. I have found other things along here, but it's so hard to actually remember. See, it runs through that town. See where you can't see that church until you zoom in further. And these churches were built on pagan sites, and a lot of people believe that they were built on the sites because it's easier to transition to a new faith. I don't believe that at all. I believe that these things were placed there because the people knew about the power and the strength of this land, and that is why. And you'll find that when you zoom in closer, you'll find a lot of B&Bs close to very, very close online. Huge farms. I wonder, farmers closer to the lane and farmers further away from the line, what does their breed and their livestock, what's their life expectancy? Is it better or worse? You know, those type of ideas and thinking. So you have to zoom in so close to actually see the properties. And of course it's going to run through rivers and stuff, but this is another thing that you'll find in ancient texts. To summon a demon or a demonic entity, you go to the crossroads. And this is one of the theories that keeps coming up, that the reason why is that when they're constructing the crossroads, that they actually do what I'm talking about and find the lane. And you will find a lot of crossroads run through this. You can see there. Of course you're going to get it. If I just put a lane anywhere, of course you're going to get it to run through buildings and stuff, but it's when you actually go to the other St. Mego, and look how far we have to go. And there's so much stuff that could run through. Look at that forest. There's a quarry. There's a main. Huge forest. Oh, that looks so cool. The pattern. It's got like the Fibonacci going on. So, I apologize for getting so off topic. But isn't that crazy though? So I come back there that it runs through a nuclear power plant, and that's where this is where Hitler was deceived as well. At Calais, sure. Where's Calais? Calais closer. Calais up here, isn't it? Yeah. There's Dunkirk. Look how close they were. I love World War II history. And I have heard stories of the Bermuda Triangle being three ley lines that are crisscrossing, and there's actually a church along here called St. Michael's, I believe. Look at that lane. How perfect. It runs through that quarry. That's not on lane. It's close. There is a lane. I have spoke to people in England, and they said there is a lane that runs all the way across England, and it lines up with all the churches. All the churches are in lane. So come back to Banshees. I apologize. How long is this video? I've been going for a good while. Apologies for getting off topic and talking absolute manure, cow manure. So, sorry. So, the Banshee is also derived into two types, the Friendly Banshee or the Hateful Banshee. The Friendly Banshee, such as depicted in the Banshee picture, loves the person whose death she is announcing. So she can come to you because she's in love with that person. Or not love as attraction, but more of like a mother. And her song or wailing is low, soft chant with a tenderness of tone to reassure the person and his or her family as they go into their final journey to join their ancestors in the afterlife. Beautiful, but there's so many cultures that have the similar type of thing. However, the Hateful Banshee, now this is what you don't want. Banshee Dalaba, I believe, would be hateful. No, would be evil. Dalaba, I think, is evil in Irish. Dalaba, or is that bad? I hope there's Irish speakers out there to tell me. What's the translation for hateful? Forget. Banshee is an enemy of the family, whose cry is described as the scream of a friend howling with demonic delight over the coming death of the agony of her foes. So that's freaky. She screams. If you hear a Banshee screaming, I hope that it's not for you, but run. So the Banshee, depending on the type, can be either soften or increase the sorrow associated with an approaching death, whether hateful or friendly. To hear a Banshee usually means a death within a day or two. It's not good. Physically, some Banshees are described as horrible hag with ugly distorted features, who curses a doomed and hated member of a family. Other descriptions of the Irish Banshee are as sad, beautiful spirits. These friendly Banshees are usually in the form of a young and attractive female spirit or a creature with a pale face, regular, well-formed features and black or golden hair. Tell you what, I think Rachel might be one. She has black hair, pale face, attractive. Right. I may be going out with a Banshee, people. No, I take that back. I actually take that back. I don't mean that. So the Banshee is associated with all the noble families of Ireland, including the McCarthys, the McGraths, the O'Neills, the O'Reillys, the O'Sullivans, the O'Riordans, and the O'Flahertys, the O'Flahertys, the O'Flahertys. Jeez, I've never found a name so difficult to say. The Banshee stays with the family, you see. The Banshee stays with the family and their descendants, even when they lose their position in society and reduced their ranks of the poor. So it doesn't matter if you have money in the bank or not, she's coming after you. I'm sure there's a lot of men. There's a lot of men now that are laughing because they too are aware of a Banshee, because she doesn't care if you're poor or not. She'll take everything. I'm only joking. I'm only playing. I love women. Women are the best thing to ever happen to men. That's a fact. So almost all the other old families of Ireland are associated with Banshees, even though many representatives of these names have lost their status. And do you know another thing? That apparently Banshees can jump generation. So you could have maybe 10 generations before the Banshee comes after your blood because of some sort of promise or some sort of debt, or it's just a theory. So the Hateful Banshee, so the cry of the Banshee, and I'm sorry for getting so distracted there in the ley lines map, but I just thought that it was important to talk about, considering that ley lines, and there's so much, like, look at that, here, look, the lane I was talking about. And I believe also when it says Christ drew a line in the sand, there was some sort of, I don't know, like it was a magical thing in these lanes. The St. Michael's lane, there it is. The guy was right. The St. Michael's lane. Look at all this stuff to read. And it goes on and on and on and on. There's just so much. It goes on forever. So that's the type of content there's actually here. And I don't mind talking about it all because it's early in the morning and I just consider this as work, and I get up and do everything, and I'm reading the book of Marcus Aurelius, and trust me, I am going to do that, bring it all out. So Marcus Aurelius book really helped me, absolutely helped me. And Marcus Aurelius, obviously the Caesar of Rome, but he gave Rome back to the people. And as you see in Gladiator, yes, Maximus, Russell Crowe was a fictional character, but Marcus Aurelius was not a fictional character. He was real, a real historical character. Well, you need to have faith that he is, because we cannot prove that. We cannot go back 2,500 years ago. So yes, you can look at statues, but I can build you a statue of anything. Name it and I'll make it for you. So, but Marcus Aurelius, fantastic read, one of the best books ever. Absolutely fantastic. So we'll talk about that later. So the cry of the Banshee, the Hateful Banshee. Now I don't know how long this video is going to be, because I don't want to make it 34 hours long, and you're here for 3.5 weeks talking about the Banshee before I get to it. But there's a fire here, roaring, have a cup of tea, sit and enjoy it. So the Hateful Banshee is said to announce itself in different ways, sometimes by groaning and other times by wailing. A truly blood-curdling scream, the cry of the Banshee has been compared to a woman suffering an unimaginable death. And that's what I heard, me and my friend. And I tell you what, my friend was so frightened, he jumped in his car and drove home, and I had to run into the house. And it frightened the hell clean out of me, but it could have been a girl. It was very late at night, and I don't think anyone died close to us, but I'm telling you, we heard a woman screaming, and it was really close, but it could have been a girl, it could have been, seriously it could have been, but we heard it, we both heard it. That's what's freaky. And when we heard it, it was right in front of us. It sounded like the girl was right in front of us, but we couldn't see her. It was the most bizarre thing. I was standing outside my house, and he was like kind of getting into his car, and I believe he was getting into his car to get his phone or his glasses or something. And when we heard it, he just jumped in the car and drove home. And I sent him a message saying, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "Yep, that's why I drove home." So the Banshee is also to have made her appearance by scratching at a window. Oh God. I hope I don't hear any windows. Or making a terrific noise or crashing. They also can be heard chuckling, and this is what the 91 beach mount happens. Lots of that. I'm telling you, it might actually be a Banshee that's in that house, you know. And don't be thinking of the Banshee as a wee furry creature. That I do believe that these beings are angelic and demonic, and you just hope that you speak to the angelic one. So the Friendly Banshee has been heard singing a sad and mournful chant or song to soothe the person about to die or his family, to reassure them as they go into the next life. Amazing. And they say that too in heaven. Angels sing. They praised in heaven by singing. And they even say it, I'm nearly sure that in the book of Enoch, that Lucifer was, I think, the leader of the choir. You know, the guy that has the sticks, before he fell. I'm nearly sure before he fell, he was like, Lucifer was so high up in the orchestra in heaven. And this is where the music comes from. And I don't know if before the fall. It's very interesting. I wonder what you think, because I'm really interested in what other people think. While I read about Banshees in other countries, while I read about the Banshee, there's other stories of similar creatures in Scottish, Norse and American folklore. This is what I want to know about. Other countries. What about your country? Please tell me if there's anything even close to this, because it's so interesting. So that's just more like links and stuff. But so the fairy holes, and actually I really think I'll cut this video now, and I will continue on another one. And if you did enjoy this video, please do not worry, I'm going to make so much more like this, because as you've just seen, there is so much to read about. The list goes on and on and on and on with the amount of stuff about ley lines and this St. Michael's Lane, ferry holes, ferry bridges. We're going to go all into this. So I'm just going to go and get some mid-lunch. It's nearly lunch, and I'm quite hungry. And yes, thank you very much, and trust me, there's going to be more. And if you do want to see more, please do not forget, please don't forget, there's only one thing you gotta do.
Stick around.